It's Nicole here, and I'm joined by
Maythe. What's up, y'all?
And we're sitting down to do another little recording. Yeah, how's your week been so far?
It's been alright. Earlier in the week I was feeling a little, I don't want to say down, but I felt like, I don't know, it was weird. I had a weird feeling, but I'm back on my game, so I'm feeling a little better. I don't know if it's like the stress of like not working, like staying home, which is weird because people usually have stress from working, but I guess it's all hitting us differently.
Yeah, a couple days ago you told me you were not feeling so hot, and I was a little worried because like Maythe's never said this on any of these recordings, but back in February she got sick, and at the time, like she told me when she got sick, we just thought it was, well, I just thought it was a cold, but I don't know, Maythe, if you want to take it from here.
I thought, like Nicole said, I thought it was regular flu because everybody was getting sick and everybody was saying that flu season was really bad this year. But after like knowing the symptoms of what the corona is, I believe, even though I was never properly diagnosed or anything, that I had the virus because like everything hit me backwards. All the symptoms hit me backwards. It started off with a dry cough, then it just escalated from there. There were days where I couldn't breathe. I had to sleep sitting up. I had headaches. I felt dizzy. I physically couldn't walk. What else? It was everything. The highest fever I think I've ever had.
Not to like give your info away, but you are in New Jersey, New York, and I feel like y'all were hit really, really badly, really early on.
There's a lot of people that definitely were sick around January, February, and it's gone uncounted for. Mm-hmm. So if you count those cases that people might have had, it's a strong possibility that they had the corona, and the numbers are way higher than they're recording, I think, because they didn't count January and February.
And we talked about this. It's like you have been sick before. You've had the flu before, and you know what it feels like. So you know when something feels different.
I'm a person that doesn't really get sick too often, but when I do, it's not like I can knock it out in 3 days. Mm-hmm. You know, drink fluid. I'm Mexican, so you know us Mexicans, we do Vaporub, lemon, all that stuff. So it's easy to knock out early, but this time around, I was sick for nearly 2 weeks. The second week, it was like a little bit better. I got to go back to work, and I'm starting to think that probably wasn't even a good idea because I did miss a whole week. I only went 1 day until they sent me home. I think I had it, and I'm telling you guys, it's not a fun feeling. It's terrible, and I told this to Nicole, and she said it to me, that I'm one of the lucky ones. If I did really have it, I'm definitely one of the lucky ones, but don't take this lightly. It's literally the worst feeling ever. Like, I wouldn't wish this on anybody. Not even my worst enemy. And like, I don't have issues with a lot of people, but I wouldn't even wish this on them. It's like, I don't want to compare it to cancer, but it's not a good feeling. It's not.
Yeah. So when you said a couple days ago that you weren't feeling so hot, I was a little bit worried because you had told me before you thought you had it, and I was like, oh God, what if you did have it and this is something else that's like presenting itself, you know? So so you're feeling better.
I don't know what the stats are when it comes to like getting it again. I don't know if it's possible for me to get it again. I don't know if I'm immune from it. I'm staying safe. I'm putting on my mask and everything. I don't go out unless I need to. Nicole knows I have a dog, so I just be going to the park and then back home. I don't really be doing anything.
Yeah.
But I am going back to work soon. Hopefully everything stays okay. If anybody's from Jersey, New York, PA, stay strong, y'all. We got this. Please don't intertwine while y'all still are sick because y'all know we be commuting everywhere. So, chill out, please.
Yeah. We're gonna make it through this. I've had these past couple weeks, I've had some really messed up thoughts, some really bad days. You just gotta take it moment by moment. And we're gonna make it through this.
y'all should reassure Nicole that it's just her allergies. She's good. She just got allergies. Don't freak out over the throat.
Like, when I wake up in the morning, my throat feels weird, and especially when I go outside, and I don't know. I know it's my allergies, but I have anxiety issues, like, to begin with, and all this is just making them run wild. So, I know it's my allergies, but there's a tiny irrational voice in the back of my head saying, nope, this is it. You got it. It's done.
On one hand, though, it's good because you're staying vigilant, I guess. You're making sure you're good.
Mm-hmm. But I'm really glad we're sitting down to record another episode because I really miss doing them. You know, I get to sit and I get to laugh. Okay, so today's topic is Brittana Fanfic Tropes. And by that I mean these little fanon ideas or trends that they're born in fanfic. So here's a few things I've noticed. Okay, so if a story gives Brittany a younger sister, that younger sister both has, like, a great admiration for Santana, and then also possibly a little bit of a schoolgirl crush on her as well. And, okay, so what are your feelings on that? Because I personally love that.
I absolutely love it. I think you might know which fic I'm talking about. That wrote their special bond perfectly. And it's My Sister's Keeper.
My Girlfriend's Sister's Keeper.
My Girlfriend's Sister's Keeper. Yes.
And it is by Body Broke, who has written some amazing and painful, but, like, beautiful fanfics. Yeah, that one is...
Shout out to them.
That one is so sweet.
I loved every minute of it. I'm glad, like, that's a fic I could really go back to and reread, and I never get tired of it.
I can't even count how many times I've read that one. I can't really fathom anyone meeting Santana and not having a crush on her. It's just... Right? It's adorable.
I love the later chapters. I love seeing as Brittany's sister grows up. We see her growing up and as Brittana growing up as a couple also. And I love it.
Another thing I've noticed is if the fic gives Brittany an older sister, it's always sort of turned around, and Santana usually has a crush on Brittany's older sister. I feel like Lake Hope. Do you remember that one?
I think I've only ever read it one time.
It's really good, and it's really in character too.
I'm gonna have to reread it. It's been a long time.
Yeah, and that one, Brittany has an older sister who's off doing some kind of, like, charity work, and it's sort of hinted and painted by the author that, like, Santana had a crush on Brittany's sister before realizing, you know, Brittany was the one for her, and it's adorable. And another thing I really like about these Brittany's sister, like, fanfics is, Brittany's reaction is generally, if the sister is younger, she is irrationally jealous. She appreciates Santana, like, giving affection to her sister, but when her sister gets a little snotty with it, Brittany gets a little jealous. Adorably jealous, and I love that.
Yeah. I will never forgive Glee for not bringing her up ever again after, like, one mention of Brittany's sister. I wish we would have saw Brittany's sister at the wedding.
I remember way back in the day, I think Ryan Murphy mentioned that he pictured Brittany's sister as being really smart. Like, this is one of my peeves about the show, is, like, we never got to see the characters at home. Like, I wanted to see Brittany sitting home with her family at dinner. I want to see Tina sitting at home with her family for dinner and, like, having conversations around the dining table and things like that. I wanted their home life, and, like, maybe saw that Brittany's little sister was, like, this tiny genius.
The thing is that we saw Brittany's room, like, at least 3 times. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure in season 4 we see her room also. Many times, actually. Yeah, with Fondue for 2.
Yeah.
You know, there would have been a cute moment where, like, while she's doing Fondue for 2, her sister, like, runs in.
Mm-hmm. Or pokes her head in,
and, like, something. Or, like, them introducing us to Brittany's parents finally during the wedding episode.
Uh-huh.
And, like, now it kind of confuses me because apparently Brittany's mom had an affair.
Yeah.
So, who's Brittany's sister's real dad?
That casting was it sort of, I think, threw everybody's headcanons out the window, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but, you know, it made it a little confusing.
LK's version, I don't know if you read her medic fic, where Brittany and Santana are both doctors. I think she went the route of her sister being Asian.
Which
I'm pretty sure, yeah. And she adopted, something happened with her sister, and like she adopted her sister's son. Yeah, so he's Asian too, and like she explains that to Santana and all that stuff, and people always give her a weird look because her son and her look very different, but she explains the situation. I wish they would have done that within the show.
Although, now that I'm thinking about this, do you remember at the end of season 2, Santana and Brittany have a conversation at the lockers? Brittany says she can't wait to be at Mike and Tina's wedding and to see if their babies come out Asian too. In a weird roundabout way, it sort of makes sense if Brittany believes this man is her biological father all this time, and maybe her mom told her, you know.
My mind is blown right now. You are right. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even connect that. Yeah.
Like, maybe her mom just told her, you know what? Some Asian people have Asian babies. Some Asian people have babies that don't look Asian. I don't know.
Poor Brittany.
So another thing I realize a lot of these are going to be about Brittany. But Brittany's parents are almost always hippies, free spirits, or like some kind of lovable kooks.
I think I've only read a handful of fics where not as out there as other people write them.
My favorite version of Brittany's parents, Lake Hope for sure. I feel like the whole family dynamic in that fic is it's so sweet and so wholesome, and it feels so organic. It feels right for Brittany.
Every version that they're written in, I like, because although it's like, some of it's like really hippie and some of it is like just more understanding, I guess. Her parents are way opposite of what Santana's parents are portrayed to be.
Like, Brittany's parents, whether they're portrayed as sort of down to earth or perhaps more kooky, in a lot of fics, they seem to be fully aware of Brittana's, like, sex life, and they never seem to, like, object to it. It's, like, I don't know what it is, but, like, in Brittany's household, in fanfics, it's, like, they know what's going on, and they're cool with it because they love Santana. Maybe it's just me, but I feel like I've read a lot of fics where Brittana are, like, getting it on in Brittany's household, and her parents are in the next room, and later on, it's sort of slightly revealed that, oh, we could hear you, and it's not a big deal. They're super chill about it, and they even sometimes, I feel like, tease Santana.
I'm sure there are parents that are like really, really chill, but coming from a very traditional family, we don't play that. So I guess that's why they write Santana's parents that way also.
So speaking of Santana's parents, I feel like they are either usually absent or abusive.
Or Santana's father is never around.
Yeah, or like it's Maribel and she and Santana have a healthy relationship, but it's like just the two of them. Canon Maribel, I feel like, is a good, healthy parent.
Yes.
Yeah. But sometimes they give Santana a mother that's not Maribel, and sometimes she could be super strict. I don't know, sometimes, like, it's straight up abusive. I mean, it's compelling to read, but at the same time, it's like, oh, my heart hurts. This poor baby.
I've read a fic, and I don't know the name off the top of my head, but I remember reading it at least twice, if anybody out there knows which one I'm talking about. Santana and Brittany, they're in high school, it's them in high school, and I don't know if it's, I don't know if they, like, grew up together, but eventually they get together, and, like, Santana, she writes, like, love notes to her and stuff, or Brittany writes love notes to her, and her parents are not really around, they're always working, but one day Santana's mom finds out, this is before, like, Santana came out, and so she finds the notes, and, like, she like flips out on Santana. She bans her from going to school. She bans her from seeing Brittany and all this stuff. And like then she tells her dad, but her dad's okay with it. But her mom, because she's religious, she's not with it, and like she leaves them.
I feel like I've read this.
I think it's popular. I don't even remember the name, but I'm sure other people have read it because it seems like a popular. It has like a lot of reviews. I do remember that.
Come holler at us if you know the title and the author. I would like to check.
Yeah, and like give us a good summary of it because I feel like I'm missing parts, but that's literally like the gist of it. Like her family, and she ends up leaving her and her father because she doesn't agree with the fact that Santana is gay. That was a harsh version of Santana's mom.
I usually don't write a lot of like Brittana parents, but I think the one time I really wanted to do that was in The Flower Baby, and that's the fic I wrote where Santana and Brittany have a fake baby. It's like a bag of flour, and they have to take care of it for a health class or something. And I was just like, I'm always seeing Santana's dad as like abusive, workaholic, neglectful, and I'm like, I want to write him in a different light. I want to see if I can do it. I think he's a lot like Santana. Like, he's just smoldering, good looking, but entirely ridiculous and like has a short fuse. I feel like the whole I'm about to go all Lima Heights is probably, it came from him and Santana picked it up. I feel like everything about her personality, it came from him.
I love the way you wrote their relationship. I'm not crying. No, yes you are.
Yeah, I love that.
There's a couple fics where they write both parents being really apologetic towards Santana when she's older and like when she's married and stuff for not being around. But I've never read a fic where like both parents are like really actively involved. I would love to see a family dynamic between all of them, you know?
I sent you a fic a few weeks back. It's called We're Just Getting Started by Liz Bean, I believe is the author's name. And I feel like if you, it's a crazy long fic, but I feel like if you stick with it long enough, you see that like both Brittany's parents and Santana's parents, they play a part and they're both supportive, and I love that fic. I love that family dynamic in that fic. It's super sweet.
Oh yeah, I'm still actively reading it. Like you said, it's a very long fic.
I feel like it's very in depth. When I was reading it the first time around, I was like, the person who wrote this has probably read some books or maybe taken some classes on like relationships. Yeah.
Oh my god.
I don't know if you've gotten to that part yet, but there's a scene where they're not arguing. They're just having a disagreement and they're sort of frustrated, Brittany and Santana. And Brittany is like, tell me one thing you like about when we're together, one thing you want us to change, and then another thing that you like. And so she's like, tell me what your problem is, but bookend it with two things that you love about our relationship. And I was like, that's a good idea when you're talking to your partner.
There's like a lot of moments like that in that thing. And even relating to the kids, like advice on the kids and discipline them without like any extreme measures and stuff like that. Yeah, this person must have been like a therapist or something. They work with kids or with relationships.
That fic is so good. Again, it's We're Just Getting Started by Liz Bean. And if you're looking for a good long fic that's in depth and Brittana future family kind of related, it's so good.
That's the one. That's the one we would recommend right now.
So on the other end of it, Brittany is always given a sister, and I guess that's because the show mentioned that. But Santana is almost always like an only child. It actually does make sense with her canon personality.
And probably why I relate to her so much.
Maythe is an only child.
I'm an only child.
Well, here's the thing. I'm Mexican-American. She's Mexican-American. We are from Mexican families, and like, only child in Mexican families? Like, what? That doesn't make any sense to me.
I'm still trying to figure it out myself. Yeah, Nicole was mind blown when I first told her. Like, when we first met, she was like, wow, here I am, relating to Santana and Rachel. You know, only child is my jam.
again, because we didn't get to see their home lives, it feels like a lot of them are only children. It's like Tina. Did she ever mention a brother or sister? Mike.
Oh, you're right.
Mercedes. I know Puck had a sister. Sam had siblings.
Quinn is an only... Quinn in canon, she's an only child, right?
No, Quinn has an older sister named Franny.
That was in the show?
Yeah. In season 1, I believe.
Huh.
Why didn't we get, like, some guest star coming on as Quinn's sister to knock some sense into her in season 3 when she's, like, spiraling? No, we have to have Blaine's brother show up. in the same episode where Quinn is dealing with her shit after the accident.
Oh my god, you're right. Oh my god, a moment with Quinn and her sister while Quinn is dealing with her pregnancy would have been...
Oh my gosh, yeah. But no, we had to have Matt Boomer. And, like, I enjoy Matt Boomer, but he does not look anything like Darren Criss, because Matt Boomer is handsome. I said what I said.
You said what you said, period.
But there are a few fics, and they're usually AUs, where Santana does have siblings, but whenever she has siblings, they're always brothers. The only fic I can recall off the top of my head where she has a sister is LK did this, like, crossover series of Brooklyn Nine-Nine and Glee, where it was like an AU where Santana Lopez and Amy Santiago were sisters. And it's so good.
I love it. I drew something for that.
Yeah.
Not to toot my own horn, but I did. I love that. When she released the first chapter, I guess, like a little one shot. Like, this is an amazing idea.
Yeah, it's a series of one shots, and they're just so sweet.
Didn't she also try, or maybe she might have mentioned it, that Santana and Amy are somehow related to Elena from One Day at a Time family? Somehow?
Yeah, LK probably mentioned that, but I've seen other fans also, like, mention that as well, because, like, Gloria Estefan was on One Day at a Time as well, and, like, there's a lot of actresses, like, crossover right there in, like, those 3 shows. Okay, and we're gonna change course a little bit here. Another thing, fanfic would have you believe is that Santana invented orgasms.
Of course you did. What do you mean?
It's sort of implied on the show that she's really good.
Sex fiend. She's a sex fiend.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
But then again, you know what? Brittany is no slouch either in fanfics.
Well, I was telling you the other day that I totally believe that, yes, Santana is probably really amazing in bed, but she's also the one in a relationship that likes to make love. And Brittany is like, nah, let's get a quickie in. But Santana's more, like, sentimental about it, you know?
I totally get that. I feel like deep down she is a romantic more than anything.
Yeah. Especially because it took her so long to get to the place that she is in now.
This is gonna be a controversial topic here, but, like, I mean, we're getting into it. And there's always been this debate, who is the top and who is the bottom.
Oh, man. What do you think it is?
Okay, so in my head, and the way I usually try to write them is, like, it's very balanced. It's like nobody has any specific role. It's like they're both what the other needs in that moment, and sometimes they're different things, you know what I mean? Sometimes Santana wants to be taken care of, and sometimes it's the other way around. But I feel like a lot of fans really are like, Brittany has to be the top. That's it. And, like, I do believe Brittany does, but I don't feel like it's just this one or the other. I feel like it's more balanced.
Yeah, I agree. It's a whole equal thing.
Yeah. I was talking to Emily, which is Giraffes Eat Trees. I told her, when I'm reading fanfic, for some reason, I enjoy it more when Santana tops. And I said, I don't know what that says about me. And she replied, probably that you want to be topped by Santana. I was like, maybe.
Accurate.
Probably.
Okay, maybe. You know it's definitely.
Not that I don't enjoy fics where Brittany is sort of, but I enjoy fics a little bit more when Santana is topping. I don't know why.
I agree. I like a good balance.
I like a good balance.
A good balance is always good.
But
I like those rare moments where they also talk about how just jump on me, just jump me from behind and let's get it on. I like those type of moments where they like talk about who's the more dominant one, I guess, and like they kind of goof around with the with the idea of who's actually the one taking control,
like in a playful way. To have that,
yeah, in a playful, yeah.
But yeah, there's always been that debate, and some people they just scoff at the idea of Santana ever being a top. But like, I like to think they're versatile,
Do you think that's like the one top debate in the Brittana fandom?
I feel like that might be the number one debate: who is top and who is bottom. I prefer.
What does that say as a fan base?
I mean, like I said, I like top Santana, and maybe that's because it's my thing or whatever.
Listen, we're just attracted to Santana. That's what it is.
I mean, I feel like I do make a lot of Santana is a bottom jokes in my fic, just because it's so easy.
I'm sure Brittany teases her a lot. Mm-hmm. I'm sure Santana goes around and tells people, I'm the dominant one. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I'm the one that's always top, and like Brittany's always teasing her because she knows.
I feel like I touched on this in Squirrel Friends, where it's like this scene where they're sort of cuddling in bed. Santana calls herself like a cuddle fiend. She says her life motto is live fast, die cuddling. And Brittany says, nobody would ever guess you're like this. Like, from the outside, everybody would just sort of believe that Santana's like all about sex, all about that. But like underneath it, she just wants to be cuddled. She just wants to be held. She's like tender on the inside.
Before they got like together, before Santana got her shit together, did they cuddle after sex? Did she like hold back because she was scared of her feelings?
Well, I don't think they cuddled. Like in season 4, after Quinn and Santana have sex, they're all the way on the other side of the bed. They just had sex.
Which may I add, it's like the weirdest positions that they're in.
Yeah.
But continue.
And also, it's like, when you finish, you just sort of roll over, and like, what position were they in where Santana just like is down there? I don't know, whatever.
Yeah. Let's not get into that.
But like in that scene, like she cares about Quinn on that just sort of general basic friend level. That she's not cuddling her, and that's because like for Santana, that was sex. That was a way to distract herself from her hurt. I feel like Santana probably didn't do a lot of cuddling with Brittany because she wanted to keep... She was in denial. She wanted to keep that space.
I wrote, Santana is just fucking amazing at sex. That's it.
Is there any other way to write her?
She just oozes sex appeal. I mean, I don't want to be the one to be like, when I first saw her, that's not the first thing that popped up in my head, but like, this woman, she just like has that personality that's like sexy without even trying, so can you just imagine how she probably is in bed?
So I don't, and I'm not saying they're not entertaining and that they're bad or anything. I can't personally get down with nerd Santana fics.
With what?
With nerd Santana fics.
I've read one, and I low-key kind of liked it. I don't know why. She just rocks baggy clothes because she's not like confident in herself. And like when her and Brittany get together, Brittany kind of like brings out the confidence in her, and she starts dressing as the Santana that we know. But she's still nerdy. I liked it. I'm gonna have to send you the link. Maybe I don't know if you've ever read it. But I'll send you the link.
Maybe if it's well written, it'll like change my stance on that.
It made you smile, type thing.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't too dramatic. It's like regular teenage problems, but then like they get together and then like they live happily ever after, type thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll definitely send that to me. I'll give it a try.
So do you correlate nerdy Santana with like comic book fan Santana? Because I think I might have sent you a link to where Santana was like a nerd with comic books. Like, that was her thing.
Uh-huh.
But you were like, you weren't into it because, like, a coffee shop type thing.
Oh yeah, okay. I'll give that other one a try when you send it to me. I just finished, reading a fic today called Mirror Mirror. The author is, J.S. Curious, I want to say. Well, first off, I just want to shout out to Brittana Fanfic Help on Tumblr, because this person on Tumblr has, like, even before lockdown, they were working and as a hobby, just sort of organizing Brittana fanfics, compiling, like, even old deleted ones or hard to find ones. Now that we're in lockdown, a lot of people have a lot of downtime. What they've done has been really, really helpful to fans who just want to, you know, take a break from real life stress and, you know, smile or laugh or be taken away to some other universe. So shout out to Brittana Fanfic Help on Tumblr, because that's how I found this fanfic, Mirror Mirror. And the premise is Santana is like this hotshot pop star who is on top of the world, but she's gay, and her team knows, but like they're keeping it under wraps, and she hires a call girl, and the call girl is Brittany. But it's really, like, there's a lot of fics that sort of sound like that, but they're just sort of a little too fantastical, like a fantasy. But this one feels really, really grounded. I actually really enjoyed it, and I usually don't enjoy fics that involve prostitution, although no shame and no judgment here from me. Like, me and you have discussed this. It's like in fanfics, when I'm writing them, I don't like to make Santana in the closet as the main obstacle of the story, just because it's been done so many times. I don't know. I feel like readers want escapism, and so I always create obstacles that are different, that are just maybe a little left of center, or it's not going to be as heavy as, you know, Santana being in the closet and just, like, hurting. I just feel like people have had enough of that. So that's why I always try to make it really playful, really silly, and absurd. But in this fic, like, that is their main obstacle. However, I feel like it's done really, really well, and in a really grounded way. Yeah, Brittana Fanfic Help on Tumblr has also posted, like, this one, like, master list, where it's like, if you want to see lawyer Santana, or if you want to see nerd Santana, or nerd Brittany, or enemies to lovers, or, you know, any kind of scenario, she created this crazy master list where you just click on whatever genre you want, and she got it. So.
Oh my god, I love lawyer Santana.
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to say that. But if anybody can write Santana as a lawyer in, like, a How to Get Away with Murder setting, I mean, she's like, people already write her badass, but, like, put her in, like, the How to Get Away with Murder universe, woo! She would be Annalise's right-hand girl. Speaking of, like, I don't even know what topic are we on now. I forget.
Ooh, hold on 1 second. There's a bee in here. I'm gonna try to kill it. Do you think I should try?
No, open the window.
Well, the window is open, and it keeps going out, but then it keeps coming in.
Close the window and turn
but
the
it's
car
hot.
on. Put the AC on. Put the AC on.
It's hot.
We're trying to kill it.
But what if I try to kill it and I don't kill it and it just gets angry? I don't know. Okay, I got it.
Shit.
Hold on. I got an empty cup. What am I doing? Oh man. What am I doing? Hold on. Okay, I trapped it in a cup. So I need to put something on top of this cup. I feel bad because this is a human. I mean, this is not a human. This is a living creature, but... Okay. I have a plastic bag. So what I'm going to do is stuff this plastic bag inside this plastic cup.
What is happening?
Oh my god. Okay. I feel like I'm safe now. I'm sweating. What were we talking about?
What was the subject we were talking about?
I think it was like a lot about sex. So yeah, I feel like we could go in circles talking about Brittana and their sex life in fanfic.
We got way off track for that, but yes.
I'm sure we'll end up talking about that again in another episode, perhaps. But let's change gears one more time because I saved the best fanfic. I don't know if it's a trope, but it's a trend for last, and that is SannyBear. Where did SannyBear come from? Because if you think about it, it had to originate from somewhere. Some girl wrote this in her fic, and then it showed up in another fic, and then another fic, and another fic, and then it just snowballed and it became a thing. Where did SannyBear come from? Why did the fandom hold on to it?
In a sense, it's for me, I like when people use it for Brittany to tease Santana, or for other Glee members to tease her.
I like the use of SannyBear when somebody is toying with Santana and teasing her, but I don't know, it feels a little awkward when you just have Brittany calling Santana SannyBear out of nowhere.
It's not like, babe, hey babe, come here. It's like, hey SannyBear, come here.
And I don't hate it. I want to know where it came from. I am so fascinated by the SannyBear phenomenon, is what I'm going to call it.
I keep thinking back, I'm like, it's never been used in a Glee episode, so...
That's what I'm saying. Some girl out there invented it, and it became a thing. And it exists to this day. I just read a newish fanfic, and it was in there. And I'm not mad at it. I don't hate it. I just want to know where it came from.
Somebody needs to go back, or you need to do this again and just go back through all the fics ever and see what's the very first Santana or Brittana fic. It probably was written in 2009, right?
You know who I need to ask about this? Brittana Fanfic Help on Tumblr, because they know Brittana fanfic. I need to ask that person. I need to ask them if there's any way for them to search for the term, and if they could pull up dates, because I need to know where SannyBear came from, and I need to make contact with that author, and I need to know, because I am fascinated.
That's hilarious. It went from San to just Fanny, and then just add the bear in there. San, Fanny, and SannyBear.
And like you said, the first fanfic probably came out in 2009. And here we are in 2020. And I just read SannyBear in a newish fic. The SannyBear phenomenon has it surpassed a decade.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going anywhere.
It's not going, no.
If you're listening to this, and if you created SannyBear, let me pick your brain. Where did that come from? Is that some kind of, is adding bear to somebody's name something you do in your family? What?
Oh shit. And are you proud? Are you proud that you created this phenomenon?
Whether people like it or don't like it, you should be proud because you created this thing that it exists to this day. It still goes on, and bravo. I'm not even joking. You embedded something into the fandom that continues. And I think that's so cool.
Did you ever put SannyBear in your fic? Even as a tease?
I don't think so. If I'm wrong, somebody tell me, but I don't think so. I have put San in there.
You have to put SannyBear now. Are you even a Brittana fic writer if you don't put SannyBear?
That is true. That is true. Yeah. I feel you know what?
Wouldn't that be funny if they hit you up? I'm gonna laugh so hard.
What?
If the person that wrote SannyBear, the very first person hits you up, I'm gonna laugh so hard. And
I'm not even poking fun at it. I am so fascinated by these little things that we just, as a fandom, we pick up on and we carry throughout the years.
I feel like if you type in the word Sanny or SannyBear, like, as a keyword in fan fiction, I'm sure, like, a lot of fics will pop up.
Uh-huh. Oh, man. All of these fanfic tropes that we're mentioning, we're not poking fun at them because we think they suck or anything. In fact, I've used several of these, and I love to read these as well. So if you've used them, it's not me making fun of you. I really just like talking about, like, the fandom and, again, like, these little pieces of the ship that we pick up and we carry and we hold on to even a decade later. I think it's really cool.
It is cool. It's been a long time. Here we are, still writing, reading, and drawing these two little dorks in various ways. Whatever version you write them in, you're dope.
I guess that's gonna be it for this little episode.
Again, everybody stay safe. Seriously, I don't want y'all to get sick. Reading Brittana, keep writing Brittana, keep drawing Brittana, keep doing all that good stuff. Try to keep yourself mentally busy and healthy, and like we said before, we will all get through this. And I hope everybody's doing okay and prospering at what they're doing.
Be safe out there. Check in on your friends, check in on your family, even the ones you think are in good shape. Just give them a little poke, tell them that you care. And I can't stress this enough, you guys. Please wear your mask. I've seen a lot of people who think wearing a mask is a sign of weakness, but for me, it's a sign of solidarity, and we all got to do our part and wear a mask. And even if it's just 1% safer with a mask on, just do it for that 1%. Yeah, it's uncomfortable to wear a mask, but if you're going into a store, like, you only have to wear a mask for, like, an hour. If that. The people that work, they have to wear a mask for, like, 8 hours a day.
And for the young ones, like, if you guys really have a problem with wearing a mask, just think of it as, like, if you're going to Coachella for, like an hour, wear it for fashion, go take a selfie while you wear it or something. Anything to keep the damn mask on, we're literally trying to keep you guys safe, trying to keep ourselves safe.
Ask yourself, what would Santana do? She would wear her mask. And what would she do if she saw you without your mask? She would beat your ass. So
roast you to hell. Yes. Back.
Yes. All right. Well, take care, you guys. If you want to holler at Maythe or me, we're both on Tumblr and Instagram. So if you're having a hard time, reach out. If not to us, then people in your family.
For sure. Stay safe, y'all.
All right. Well, we'll talk later. Bye.
Peace.